Hey, this is Vu, and today I'm going to be talking about how to win anti-ecos consistently. And this is a major problem in pugs and in matchmaking because people tend to run out in the middle of the open, lose their gun, give it up to the opponent, and then subsequently lose the round because of that. So going right into it, the most important thing to remember here is that you want to be running the buddy system. You want to be grouping up as much as possible, but if your team isn't going for, a 4-man or a 5-man push, what you want to be doing is running that buddy system where you have two people together. So in this map, you might have two people towards tunnels and two people outside long. Now, of course, there is going to be that 5th man. Can't really run the buddy system unless he trios up, and he might be holding a really long range angle like down mid here, where he has absolutely no chance of getting killed by someone with a pistol. He's just spotting for information, and then he's going to let his buddy system teammates, 2 teammates in tunnels and 2 teammates outside long, go for that actual kill, and he's not going to force that himself. Now, the next thing that a lot of people have problems with is going to be nade work. A lot of people try and throw nades, smokes, flashes, molotovs as if they were playing against people with guns, and that's not what you should be doing. Look, when you play against people and they're ecoing, you have the gun advantage. Don't pull out nades unless you're 100% sure you're going to be safe, and don't really expect them to always blind everybody. That's the problems with nades. If you throw a flash, not only can they catch you as you throw the flash, but if you throw a flash that could possibly be turned from, a lot of the time you're going to end up with people that will hear that flash pop while they're hiding, come right out and try and spam you down when you're still not ready. Recognize here that you have better guns than them. You don't need to do anything fancy. Don't try and outsmart your opponents. Just take your gun, shoot them in the head, and you have a massive advantage there, and you should know that you have a teammate with you to make sure that they can trade even if you die. So at the very worst, it's a 1-for-1 trade, and you're going to end up in the same position as before. Now, the next thing to recognize here is about smokes, and a lot of people have a tendency to throw smokes as if it was a gun round. You really don't want to be doing that. A smoke like this is great because it blocks off a long range position where opponents, when they have an op, can really mess you up. However, when they have pistols, you don't want to be throwing a smoke like that. And a more common smoke that you don't want to be throwing is this smoke towards cross. Now, you do have to worry. People on ecos here could definitely have a scout, and they could try and kill you while crossing. However, if you know they don't have a scout, or you think they don't have a scout, a smoke like that while crossing can sometimes actually hurt you. Now, of course, this is a situation by situation basis. A lot of the time you might want to throw that. However, consider not throwing it every time, because what will often happen is people with pistols will sit on the other side of the smoke. They might throw a flash in the middle of the smoke that you can't avoid, and then they'll go and push through it and go for a kill. So if you ever throw a smoke, make sure you always have somebody there ready for someone with a pistol to push through, because when you're playing against pistols, those smokes actually somewhat benefit your opponents, because you're taking away long range engagements and giving them a smoke which they can hide in or push through to actually catch you in a close range engagement, which is exactly what they want. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you here is a little bit about movement. Now, the first bit is going to be your MP7 movement. So if you have an MP7 or a P90 or whatever, you want to make sure that you're pre-firing around corners if you know they're there, or you think that it's a very good possibility that they're there, and also you're always moving. Don't stop and shoot an MP7 like you would an AK. The main goal you have here with an SMG is the fact that you can aim punch them really hard, and you can continue being a hard target to hit, even if they have armor. So you can come around a corner, pre-firing them, and move back and forth, and they're going to have a very hard time actually dealing with you, because their crosshair is going to be in the sky, and not only that, but you're going to continuously be moving. You're not an easy target like someone that has to stop and shoot, and that kind of carries over here with the AK at a range like this. So from this corner over to there, now you are in definite pistol range here. They could certainly kill you, and you have to stop to shoot with an AK. This type of gun, you really do have to stop and shoot. So what you want to be doing is still still trying your very best to be a hard target to hit. And there's two ways you can do that. You can either be crouching up and down like this, which makes you hard to hit in terms of, your head's not going to be at the same spot the whole time, so they're not going to be able to hit a headshot on you very easy. Or you can get that crouch movement going. So if you're out from a corner, you simply crouch down, spray, and then continue moving. And again, it doesn't make you impossible to hit, but it makes you harder to hit. So even if you miss the first few bullets, the enemy still can't just immediately click on your head and you're standing still and get an easy kill there. Now, on the CT side, it's going to be a little bit different, but I've got a couple things here. The first thing is, generally, for most of the time, you want to be running something like an UMP or a FAMAS or an M4, depending on what your team can buy, and playing those long-range angles, because that Tech 9 is just so insanely strong, you really can't risk running up close on a Tech 9 if you want to play it safely. So most of your team, they want to be playing spots like Backplat here, where they can easily mow down multiple opponents as they come around. And generally, again, you don't want to be throwing too many smokes unless they really isolate opponents, deep in tunnels like that, where you can catch them as they run out of the smoke easily. Just take it very simply. Don't overthink anything here. Just play it very smart and get easy kills here. Now, one thing you will recognize is sometimes you do want to go aggressive. You might want to get a little bit of information, something like that. For those times, run an MP9, run a shotgun, okay? The reason for this is if you run into tunnels here, for example, and you die with a FAMAS, they could pick it up and actually win the round with that, especially if they have armor. They could get some kills and really open up the round just with one single FAMAS. However, if you die with an MP9, they're still going to have problems. It's not really going to be much better than a Tech 9. Now, the last thing I'm going to mention here is actually going to be about the Scout. Now, the Scout is a very viable gun. You can definitely use it on anti-ecos. However, just for solo queue, I would suggest that you try not to use it too often unless you're very, very confident with it. And the reason for that is that when you're in solo queue, when you're playing matchmaking, I've noticed my team has a pretty big tendency to lose their bomb site and get absolutely nothing done. Now, it's just an observation. It does happen a reasonable amount, and that means you're going to have to be in a 3-on-3, 3-on-4, 3-on-5 retake, and if you have a Scout, that's just not going to happen very often. What you want to have a Scout for is if you know not only you have support from your teammates, so if the enemy has armor and they rush you, you can get support and you can hit one shot on someone and your teammate will get that extra 20 damage, because getting 2 shots on the same guy will really screw up a rush. If they can rush 5 man and you have to 2-shot each of them, you're totally screwed. But not only that, you want to have confidence in your team to be able to hold their site, or else retaking with a Scout, you're going to end up losing a decent amount of rounds with it. The only places that I'll really use a Scout is like on cache. I might hold mid with a Scout, and even on that map, I'm a little bit scared of using a Scout for the exact same reasons. If the terrorists rush B and I have to retake, there's a good chance that I'm not going to be able to do much with that Scout. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I hope this helped.